Is our job as journalists to report on the bleep show that both political parties have become? Or is it to act as advocates for the American people and point out that neither party is either solving our problems or talking about real solutions to our problems?
Okay, before I answer that, I just want to say that both of you guys should feel very sorry for me, because the burden I carry is that I'm always right, and it's just a terrible burden. So that answers 50% of your questions. There's two stories here, both important. So affordability, I was watching Cuomo's show before your hour came on. Affordability. So you ask a Republican in office, what are you going to do about affordability? And they go, they're communists and socialists. You ask a Democrat, same question, what are you going to do about affordability? Well, it's Trump's fault there's no affordability. You don't get any answers. What you get is deflections over to personalities, and you get personal stuff. So who's being served by that? The American people aren't. They don't know what your plan is to inject affordability into the American economy. What is it? I don't know what it is, and I do this for a living, on either side. So you're never going to get a policy stated to you without going over to bash the other party. And that's what I objected to with Ossoff. So instead of dealing in Georgia, which has an affordability problem, he insinuates in a gutter snipe way that Natalie Harp is doing something untoward. Civil servant. This is a chronicler. She's a chronicler. Every president since Washington has had one, okay? But that's what he does. And when I came on with Chris on Wednesday, I thought he was going to agree with me. I didn't think there was going to be any disagreement, and we would both say, that's not the way you handle this, okay? But no, we got right into Trump. And I don't think that serves the American people very well.
Chris,
Well,
you
I'll tell
agree
you
or
what,
disagree?
I'll do the favor of answering your question. I think the job is to give people information and perspective that helps them as critical thinkers, what we call food for thought. That's the job. This exegesis on what is journalism, what isn't, to me is academic and beside the point. You try to provide value, you try to help. I think that the situation with Ossoff is very plain to anyone who's paying attention, okay? First of all, Natalie Harp gets paid by you, Bill, and me. You're going to get questions about you. It's how it is. I believe that Bill and people on the right took the suggestion about Natalie Harp and Trump as a sexual one. That's for them to explain. Because the way Ossoff offered it up was as part of a litany of things Trump likes to do. On that plane that Qatar gave the president, which is, by the way, a shame. It's just a shameful thing to accept that plane the way he did. And we all know it, but only half of us will talk about it. And he wants to be on the plane with Natalie. I don't take it as they are having an affair. The people on the right did, fine. You want to be about morality and character, and let's not talk about women that way, fine. Start with your own house. And they don't talk about it, and that's what doesn't serve the American people, because everybody sees it. You want to talk economic policy? We should. I don't want to talk about Natalie Harp. I wish her well. I don't want to hear about the president calling every female reporter who asks a question in a way he doesn't like a pig. Okay? I don't want to hear it. I don't want to deal with it, although he does make them stars, which is good, if ironic. We should talk about what matters. We should test people, and we should be decent about it. Those are the boxes we should check.
Okay.
So, Bill, you don't need me in the middle of this. You guys go ahead.
Yeah, all right. We could find two Democrats, and I did research all weekend, that criticize Ossoff for what he said, David Brooks and David Axelrod. Brooks said This was an insinuation, okay? So he disagrees with Chris. It was an insinuation, all right, inflammatory, and it should not have been said. When I asked Chris last week to criticize Ossoff for what he did not do it. Instead, he turned it on me and said, okay, you say nothing about Trump's insults. That's not true. And we provided NewsNation with a montage.
The idea that you are a clear-eyed critic on the president of the United States named Donald Trump is a joke. Okay, and only you believe it, and that's okay.
Can laugh,
but the idea that you are a fair broker is silly.
You can laugh all the way to the confessional because you mischaracterized me when you said I say nothing when Trump is crude. That is not true. That is not true.
We have to argue. We have the clips. Hold on. We have the clips. We have the clips. We'll roll them, and then you guys can discuss, see what Chris thinks.
Yes, take your cherry-picked clips, please.
Summing up, I think Donald Trump is now going to pivot to his legacy. He wants to be recognized one of the great presidents. In order to make that happen, he's got to do two things. He's got to tamp down the controversial statements. Has to. I don't know if he can. Okay? And then he's got to tamp up and explain to we the people why he is what he's doing. I figure about 30% of MAGA people, no matter what Donald Trump does, they'll be fine with it. If it's a Great Depression, they'll be fine with it. They just love him so much. It's a cult.
I know for a fact that some very bad people are trying to exploit his campaign to disguise racial and social hatred. They're doing that. Donald Trump should loudly condemn those people and tone down some of his own inflammatory rhetoric. Just tell us what you want to do. No need to incite.
To be clear, those are the clips that Bill
I didn't even know who that
provided.
was. You call Ossoff a gutter snipe, and you get all angry, and you're never like that with Trump. You're like a little puppy. And look, that's okay. But you're going to go on your show, call me a Democrat. You're going to go on the radio show with that little bastard in the morning who lies about me, and you sit there smugly and laugh about it, and then you think that you're going to come on my show and be a fair broker? It's not what you are. You play in the pig pen with the MAGA people. That's what you do. And you watch them be ugly, and you're okay with it.
That's demonstrably.
What you do. Okay, so own it.
See, you don't care whether what you're saying is true or not.
Oh,
you're going to believe what you want to believe.
You just said you go after the president. You didn't take a tone with him once. There's not one clip about what he said about Megyn Kelly. There's not one clip about what he just said about Kristen Holmes.
I don't deal with that.
There's nothing about Caitlin Collins.
Clips.
Why not? Why not? Why don't you deal with exactly what you're talking about with Ossoff?
This isn't a telethon.
I don't care if you have 50 clips. You do nothing but make content. You've been on TV for 500 years. That's not the point. The point is that even what you just provided, you have a gentility in talking about Trump because there's a deference. But you call me the Democrat. You say, I hate Trump. You see this as mature or fair? Please, be what you say you don't oppose.
Look,
be what you say you don't want to be.
I can't read your mind. But in my opinion, you despise the man, and that shadows.
And I tell you, you're wrong. It's about the outcomes, and you're cheapening the criticism.
Chris,
it's like a kid who says, it's like a kid who says, Bill, you hate me because you don't want me to play with matches. No, playing with matches is dangerous. Okay, these policies and the rhetoric are dangerous. It doesn't mean I don't hate him. Go ahead. I got to make my case because he mischaracterizes everything. Go ahead, Bill.
All right, look. The most important story is this. With all the vitriol and all the stuff that's flying around, the personal stuff, the American public does not get what it needs, and that is information about what both parties are going to do should they win in November. Because it's whataboutism, it's cover this, it's cover that, it's statements made that are unchallenged. All of that is happening. But when you categorize me as a MAGA colonel That's just not true. And whether you want it to be true or not, I'm going to defend myself. But that's between you and me.
You're not a victim.
That's a
You're
personal
not a victim.
beef.
You're not a victim.
No,
You get an
that's why I'm on here
unparalleled,
today.
unprecedented platform on my show all the time. You're the only person who gets it.
Let's not
Look,
let's
but
not
you're not the
denigrate
same with Leland as you are with me. Let me tell you something. If I were you, you would never have me on the way I have you on. If I talk to you the way you talk to me, I would have never been a repeat guy. Roger Ailes would have called me, may rest in peace, and said, you're never going on again.
You guys are arguing. You guys are arguing over who's going to have who on whose show and how the interviews will be conducted.
No, you're misunderstanding the point. The point is this:
the politicians aren't doing their job.
You should be what you say you matter. No, you're misunderstanding the point. The point is simple: be what you say matters. Okay? If you're going to take cheap shots and go with people who take cheap shots and smile and laugh along, then you are a cheap shot artist, a gutter snipe, some would say.
So that's Ossoff, right?
I don't think that's who you should be. I don't think Ossoff is a gutter snipe.
That's Ossoff, right?
And there's no way that Ossoff is a gutter snipe, and the president should tone down. He doesn't need to tone down. Does that sound like the same way of dealing with those two men? Please.
What do you want me to do?
You think
Pull
that's the
my
same as
ears
calling him
when
a
I
gutter
say it?
snipe? Call him a gutter snipe.
Ossoff's direct assault on a woman that does a good job, Natalie Harp, has put her life into a terrible position. She's got to have security
and telling
now.
a reporter, shut up, piggy, doesn't hurt her? You don't think those women get threats? He does it all the time, and you say, I don't deal with that.
We're talking. Are we not talking about Natalie Harp or other women?
We're talking about how you treat women in politics and political rhetoric. We're talking about how you should treat women in political rhetoric.
I'm talking about Ossoff attacking Natalie Harp.
Because you don't want to deal with the other ones.
That was the reason.
That's my point.
I don't have time to deal with the other ones. It's not a telethon.
Oh, boy. I do.
This is the story. And fine.
Look,
it's your responsibility.
Look, here's the story.
I have no beef.
Here's the story.
I have no beef with you attacking
it's not about
anybody.
Beef. It's not about beef.
If you have the facts to back it up.
It's not about
but
beef.
Calling
it's
me
not
a
about
MAGA
personal.
colonel,
it's not about animus.
That's bull.
Look, you bring their case on a regular basis. You can call me a Democrat, it's okay. You can laugh with the little MAGA crowd who take shots at me that they'd never take to my face. That's
laugh
okay.
at the little MAGA crowd. I don't know the MAGA crowd. Who's the little MAGA crowd?
Oh, you don't?
Who are they?
You don't.
I
Did
feel
they
like
follow me
it's a
home?
therapy session or something.
Who's the guy you go on the radio with? How would you describe that guy? He's like this big. He looks like a human big toe. Yeah, you're full.
Now we're talking about
here's
some
what
guys
I stuck up for you on that show.
Yo, please.
I stuck up for you.
Let me tell you.
Fellas,
Then let me tell you
I've been
something.
listening
Never
to you now
stick
for
up for
10
anybody
minutes.
ever again. Look, here's all I'm saying.
I can't figure out what you guys are arguing about.
I know you can't, but that's okay. People at home will. The thing I'm saying is this. Trump is getting a boost from this.
Leland!
Trump is getting a boost. Trump is getting a boost from this because we're not talking affordability. We're not talking what people are worried about, which, Leland, you do a brilliant job on your show all the time.
Neither party will talk affordability.
So this is a win for him. This is a win for him.
Cuomo, neither party talks about affordability. What do you want, wage price controls? Is that what you want?
That's not true.
Oh, that's not true.
Okay, so you have
what's the
Democrats
Democratic plan
talking about what has to change
to inject
all the time.
affordability?
Well, you don't inject affordability.
What's the Democratic plan?
What you have removed the tariffs, okay? You have structural changes on how you treat small businesses and create some kind. Yeah, you give big businesses a tax preference.
Isn't that Congress's job?
Well, they're running for seats in Congress. That's what the midterms are about, right? The midterms are about Congress, right? So they're saying.
But I don't know what they want to do.
Well, maybe you should ask them and not talk over them when they're trying to answer your question. Well,
either side, I don't know what they want to do.
I do. And by the way, I know what people on the right would want to do, too, if they didn't have to worry about offending the president. They say they want the tariffs off all the time. They say they want to get out of the Middle East all the time, and they want to give some price protection for inputs to small businesses so that they're not getting killed.
Legitimate.
And that's a real conversation.
How?
And they say they want to create real rule changes. What do you mean how you're going to do it? You're going to
Who?
pass laws. You're going to create regulations. You know, you're going to change policies. That's how you do it. This isn't a mystery.
Where is the legislation? Where is the proposed legislation, Cuomo?
Well,
Where
for the
is it?
Democrats, the Democrats don't have the votes.
Where?
They're not in power. You don't have
You can't
the
have proposed
legislative
legislation
mandate.
unless you
Oh,
have
no,
the
they
power.
they put out proposals
Come on.
all the time. They don't even
Neither
get votes.
side-
Mike Johnson won't even
Neither
allow it to
side
be
even makes
debated.
an
He only
attempt.
wants to debate the SAVE Act. No, they're not the same, Bill. They're not the same. Okay, one side is in
okay.
power and doing nothing on purpose. You don't like that. I wonder why. I'm saying
purpose.
that the Democrats do have ideas about what they want to do. And the last time I checked, when you're not in power, one of the major things in politics is criticizing the status quo. And I know that President Trump did almost that exclusively when he campaigned. He wasn't an idea factory. Concepts of a plan on health care. He attacked
All right,
that
so
health care was
we're back
bad. He
to-
said he'd do something. Well, I think the President of the
We're
United
back to
States
Trump.
matters. I think he matters.
We're back to
I think he
Trump.
matters.
Look,
I don't think it's rude
what
to
both
talk about
parties-
the President. We're talking about policy and affordability.
I didn't say it was rude. What both parties should do is have proposed legislation. This
They
is
do.
what we would do. They don't. Okay?
Have
and if they
Ro Khanna
did,
on
I
your
would
show.
know about it.
Have Ro Khanna on your show.
Ro Khanna now.
Oh, Chris, Ro Khanna won't come on my show. He won't come on Bill's show. Come on, Chris.
No, he will. He came
I
on my
know
show,
that.
to be honest with him. But Ro Khanna
just
is
agreed with you.
not. I mean, I don't mind having Congressman Khanna on, but I'd have to have a balance because Ro is somewhere out in the universe someplace.
Well, I get it. You don't like his politics, but what
I'm
I'm saying is you want to know what their plans are. Have them on. Have
Yes, I
Hakeem
do.
Jeffries on. Have other Democrats
Oh,
on.
wait.
They'll give you lots of
come on,
legislative
Chris.
proposals. Why are you
Give
guys
me
all
one
upset all of a
Ro
sudden?
Khanna economic.
Why are you guys all upset?
Give me one Ro Khanna economic solution. One.
Well, I'm not here to stump for him, but he would say break up
Oh,
the
you're
verticals
not
in
here.
health care. I'm
You're not here?
not here to
Okay.
make the case for Ro Khanna, but I can tell you, having interviewed him and doing what we call homework,
course not.
he has a proposal to break up the verticals in health care to help with affordability
Break
because
up
you have
the
all these
verticals.
healthcare companies.
You think anybody knows what that means? Break up the
I
verticals.
think you don't know what it means.
You think
but I think it's
anybody
pretty,
knows
I think
what that
Leland
means?
knows what it means. I think Leland knows what it means. I think you don't on purpose.
Well, Leland's smarter
because you
than
wanna
both
pretend-
of us.
you wanna pretend
even though
there are
I'm
no
contradicting
solutions.
myself.
Well, Leland's a very smart guy.
All
That's
right,
not
look,
not the
Cuomo.
question. That's easy.
Okay.
Yeah, what, Bill?
I want the audience to know that actually Cuomo and I like each other. We had dinner a
You
couple
guys,
of
you
weeks
guys
ago.
both live out in the Hamptons, where all the fancy people are.
That's
your
right.
neighbors.
And I
And
was
you're in-
very.
what are you in the- what are
I
you
was
in the
very
ghetto?
fancy that night.
Where are you, Leland? You in the ghetto, Leland?
I passed on the.
I am in the humble confines of the Midwest. It's not the Hamptons, okay?
And that's where you should be. That's where you
He's
should
not
be.
in a humble
But
confine. Go ahead.
I didn't even have an appetizer because of affordability. Okay, I just want to know that. But Cuomo and I,
Please.
we see things differently. The only thing I object, and I'm going to tell you man to man right now, do not categorize me falsely. Do not do that. All right? And you
Okay.
did it.
Follow your own rules.
With this MAGA.
Follow your own
MAGA
rules.
Colonel.
Fellas,
Okay,
2-minute warning.
here we
2-minute
go.
warning.
Follow my own rules.
Follow your, I
if
say
I
this, man to man.
miscategorize you falsely,
Yeah.
if I miscategorize you falsely, I'll be happy to
It's
correct
not
the
an if.
record. How's that for
Then
fair?
correct it.
How's that?
Then correct it. Then correct it.
On
I'm not
what?
a Democrat. I don't stump for Democrats.
You're not a
Criticizing
Democrat.
Trump doesn't mean you hate him. It means that you think the policies and choices and messaging are something worthy of criticism, which I do. It doesn't mean I hate him, and saying that is cheapening the criticism because you don't want to deal with the criticism, which is okay, but know that that's how it comes across. And the only
I deal
reason
with them
people
all the
think
time.
that we might have a problem with each other is because of how you behave, my friend. That's why. They don't
I know
say,
it's all-
oh, Chris,
I know it's all my
you're
fault."
so tough. You're so mean to Bill. No one says that to me. Okay? No.
No, it's my fault entirely. I walk down the street and
you-
people go, "You're mean."
you
to
get
Cuomo."
angry.
He's not a Democrat. He's not a Democrat,
Well,
and
I
he
don't know that
doesn't
they
hate
say that. You
Trump.
should probably yell
You
at
know
him and
how
say, "Get
many
off my
people
lawn."
say that to me, Cuomo? You know,
I don't know. I don't know how many people
say
talk
that?
to you willingly.
Many.
Wow.
I'm an icon. You didn't know that?
Come on.
Come on.
I'm an icon, he said. And
Yeah,
he means it.
People
by the
talk
way.
to me all the time. So anyway, but I want people that watch NewsNation to know that this is spirited debate. And the other channels don't have this anymore. Disappeared. Just tonight I was watching CNN. It was hysterical. They bring on a guy from The Atlantic. You know, The Atlantic is a left-wing newspaper. And the guy says, we lost in Iran. We lost. And Iran's going to dominate the region. It's going to be more powerful than the United States and Israel. And we lost. And the anchor person sits there, and not a word does she say.
Just nods along.
Look,
no, it is what.
that- look, I
I'm going to take the last
worry
word.
I worry about my own knitting, and I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
I'm here for the debate.
The referees have not given extra time like they do in soccer. Yeah, this is what I will say.
It's
two things
injury
have come
time.
from this.
My feelings were hurt. I want injury time.
You had enough time, and you had way more time than everybody else. Thou shalt not miscategorize each other falsely. Number one. But number two, and I think what is the best part about NewsNation is we are willing to have on, you guys go on each other's shows, Bill comes on with me, that we are willing to have these kinds of debates that, as Bill rightly points out, don't exist anywhere else. It's why NewsNation continues to grow is because of this conversation. Gents,
and I want to leave everybody. I want to leave everybody, Leland.
Why do you shut up when he starts talking after the time? Why do you let him go over time?
Because he knows.
Okay,
because he
fellas,
knows I have something
I
to say.
have a higher power in my ear. Her name is Mary Kate, and we are out of time. I thank you both, and I am here, as Chris would say,
she'll let me get this
I am here for both of you, and I am here for both of you. Therapy sessions, referee services, as you all both need.
Leland,
Chris, Bill,
I'm not going in the woods getting poison ivy. And all I want Cuomo to know is one thing and one thing only. I'm always right. That's it.
Okay. Well, I guess not much has changed in this segment. Gentlemen, thank you both very much.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.